Today I'm breaking down exactly what an insurance deductible is, what the insurance company pays versus what you pay, and then I'll go through why two plans from the same insurance provider might have completely different coverage. I'm a licensed physical therapist and practice owner here in New York City, and so I deal with insurance issues every single day, and I explain this stuff to patients all the time. So let's clear up all the confusion and make it all make sense. So first, let's break down exactly what an insurance deductible is. So simply put, your deductible is what you have to pay out of pocket for healthcare before your insurance company starts contributing. Think of it as a yearly threshold. So every dollar that you spend on covered medical services count towards that deductible. And don't forget that your insurance deductible is based on your policy year, not necessarily the year that you're in. So for example, if it's 2025, which it is now, my deductible isn't necessarily based on January 1st to December 31st. Let's say I switched jobs in the middle of the year and my insurance policy started in July. For you, the policy year would be from July to the following July. So going back to the deductible now, we're talking about within your policy year, you're paying for healthcare services out of pocket until you hit your deductible. After that is when your insurance company is going to start helping you out with any remaining healthcare costs that you have for the rest of your policy year. So for example, if you have a $1,000 deductible, you have to pay out of pocket 100% for those medical costs until you hit $1,000 spent. After that, your insurance company will start helping you out. And unfortunately, your deductible resets every year, so this is an annual process that you'll have to go through. So now I'm going to explain why not all insurance plans are the same, even if they're under the same insurance company. So for example, you and your friend both might be insured under United Healthcare. That doesn't mean that you guys have the same benefits because you could have different plans within United Healthcare. So all the insurance companies are going to have dozens of different plans. So two plans under United Healthcare or Blue Cross Blue Shield or Aetna can have completely different coverage. And so that means different deductibles, different co-insurances, different co-pays, and we'll go through what all that means in a bit too. But just remember that the same insurance company doesn't always mean the same coverage. And I know it's boring, but it's really important to understand the details of your plan. So next, let's talk about what happens after you hit your deductible. So you finally hit your deductible and you're probably wondering, how much do I have to pay versus how much is my insurance company gonna pay? This is where another important piece of the puzzle comes in. It's called coinsurance. And I'll explain this a lot more in a future video maybe because there is some nuances to it. But basically coinsurance is basically just a percentage split of how much the insurance company has to pay versus you. So unfortunately, even after you hit your deductible, you are still gonna be responsible to pay something going forward. It's gonna be a lot less than 100%, obviously. A common split that we see is 80-20. So for example, once you hit your deductible, now it's gonna switch to an 80-20 split. So your insurance company will cover 80% of the cost going forward, and then you'll still be responsible for 20% of the cost going forward. And like I said, I'm gonna go through in co-insurances in a future video, but that's the basics of it. So even though you hit your deductible, you still are going to be responsible usually to pay something going forward. Like I said, I feel like we see the 80-20 split a lot, where someone will hit their deductible and then the insurance company pays 80% and the patient's responsible for 20%. Sometimes they don't have a coinsurance and they have a copay instead. So they'll just tell you flat out, like, you have to pay X amount, whether it's $50 or $75 for this service after you hit your deductible. So next I really want to go through what an in-network deductible is and what an out-of-network deductible is. You've probably heard the terms in-network and out-of-network a lot when it comes to your healthcare services, and so I'm just gonna clear all this up. So basically, in-network providers are doctors, clinics, physical therapists that have a contract with your insurance company. And out-of-network providers are doctors, clinics, and physical therapists that don't have a contract with your insurance company. And so your insurance plan is pretty much always gonna cover services that are at in-network providers. Again, these are providers that have a contract with your insurance company. But unfortunately, a lot of plans don't cover out-of-network providers. So your insurance plan might not cover medical services for anyone that doesn't have a contract with them. Now, a lot of plans actually have in-network benefits and out-of-network benefits. And so in-network benefits are pretty straightforward. Like I said, those are providers that have a contract with your insurance company. Oftentimes you might have an in-network deductible and a separate out-of-network deductible. So usually the in-network deductible is a little cheaper, and therefore a little easier to hit, a little faster to hit. If you do have out-of-network benefits, meaning if your insurance plan does cover services at healthcare companies that are out of their network, usually that out-of-network deductible is a little higher. Basically, you're being kind of penalized a little bit from going to a provider that's outside of the in-network providers that your insurance company has a contract with. And depending on what insurance company you have, sometimes it says on your insurance card what your in-network deductible is and what your out-of-network deductible is. It might even tell you some other information, like if you have a copay or if you have any coinsurance after you hit your deductible. So I really hope all this is making sense, but to just hammer home the point, I'm gonna give you a real-life physical therapy example. So let's say you sprain your ankle and you need to get physical therapy. You call your insurance company and you find out that you have in-network and out-of-network benefits. You have a $1,000 in-network deductible and a $2,500 out-of-network deductible. At that point, you're gonna wanna do your research and find a physical therapist that you like. Maybe you start looking at the in-network providers that they give you because it's a cheaper deductible. Or maybe you got a recommendation from a friend and they just happen to be outside of the network. So once you find a physical therapist that you're interested in, you're gonna call them and you're gonna ask them if they're in-network or out-of-network with your insurance provider. If they say they're in-network with your provider, great. That means that you have to pay them an out-of-pocket cost. Let's say it's $150 per session. You're gonna have to pay them $150 each session you go until you hit that $1,000 in-network deductible. If you were recommended a physical therapist that you really wanna go to, but they're out of network, I'm out of network by the way, you're gonna have to pay an out-of-pocket price. Let's say it's also $150. You're gonna have to pay $150 per session until you hit that $2,500 out-of-network deductible. So sometimes there's even a coinsurance difference between in-network and out-of-network. So let's say your in-network coinsurance is 0% and your out-of-network coinsurance is 20%. So once you hit your in-network deductible of $1,000, you know you're responsible for 0% of the cost going forward, which means obviously that your insurance company is gonna cover the services moving forward 100%. And if you go to the out-of-network place, you're gonna have to pay 20% of the costs of the services going forward. Your insurance company is gonna pay 80%. And so based on that explanation, you might wonder why anyone would go to an out-of-network provider because they're more expensive. But there's a lot of reasons why you would choose an out-of-network provider like me over an in-network provider. And so maybe I'll go through that in a separate video.